Hello, old friend. It's nice to see you. I haven't played with this set in a long time. And I just pulled it out because I wanted to play with the black. And then I saw the beautiful colors. And I'm like, that's right. These are so pretty. And now I want to play with them. I have no idea what I want to do, but my brain feels very mush at the moment, and so I feel like I just want something colorful, something easy. So maybe we'll just make some circles and have the colors mix in with each other. But we are definitely playing with this Kuretake watercolor set. So hello and welcome to this week's video, where we will not be using Daniel Smith watercolors, but this lovely set of 48 colors of the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. I'm going to prep my paper and then we can get started. I definitely have my favorites in this set. I love all the greens and blues, like these ones, and I love all of these. It has some of the most beautiful purples in this set, and I also like the rose madder, and it shows on the palette which ones I really used a lot. So I'm not really gonna play with the bottom part. I really just want to focus on all the bright colors. And the way I start off with this set is I spray the colors with some water so that they can activate, and then I'll pull them straight from the pans. I have not done anything to my watercolor paper other than tape off the sides with some painter's tape, and the rest, and I'm using the back side of the paper because it has a little bit more texture to it. These colors are not very granulating, and that's fine. I'm not looking for granulation. I have some fresh water here that I am going to use to lay down my shapes first. I do want the colors to nicely mix together, and for that I need a little bit more water on my paper so that it has enough time to stay wet. And for the rest of the video, I think I'm just gonna see what comes of it, and then if I need to explain something, I will. But I just feel like putting some colors down and playing with them and not have to think too hard. So if you are up for that, please stay and watch me do that. I gotta remember to put the water down first. Beyond what I just explained, I don't really have any idea what I want to do. And I think it depends also how it's going to turn out and if there's anything else that's needed. And I may or may not have made these circles too big, so I might have to skip quite a few colors actually. That's okay. That phthalo blue is so beautiful. All right, and I definitely want to bring in one of the purples. All right, maybe I need to go back and just add a few more like touches of interest. I used a slightly darker purple. This is the background and I use this one. Now that I have some splatters, like I said, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with the rest of it, but I might just add a few more splatters up top. Of course, when I want them to splatter in the empty spaces, it doesn't. There we go. All right, that was fun. So this is what we have, and now I'm gonna let it dry. These dry fairly colorful, bright, unlike the Daniel Smith, which dry a little bit more on the duller side. I brought out my Neocolor 2s, and I want to put some more circles over the circles that I already did, and then maybe we can activate them with water a little bit, maybe not. The whole concept is a little up in the air because scatterbrain. So I'm really happy with how it dried, and just for you to see how this dried and how vibrant and bright those colors still are is pretty remarkable. So that's one good thing that I really like about the Kuretake watercolors. I'm going to use some colors that you can actually see when I put them on, but because we're going to activate them with water, we might need to stay in the color family. Something like that, and then we'll use this one here. This will blur the lines a little bit. So for those of you who don't know what Neocolor 2s are, they are water-soluble aquarelle, which means, you know, watercolor. And you can loosen up your lines with water. Or you can leave them the way they are. Now, the watercolor underneath doesn't really move that much anymore because it's nice and dry. And so me reintroducing water on top of it is not going to make a big difference. They are not permanent, so they will reactivate. Unlike regular watercolors, they will reactivate with water. So if you do add more water on top of it, you kind of have to be aware of that. All right, now I have to let it dry again before I can continue. So I'm gonna go do something else because time is precious these days. And then when it's dry, I will come back and add more stuff on top. What I'm gonna do, I don't know yet. But we are one step further into the process, which is always a good thing. For you, I will be right back. This is what I have so far. And now I'm gonna keep building. Now we're gonna add some lines and some dots, maybe more circles. And then when I feel like it's done, I stop. If you were wondering whether you could draw over the neocolor twos with your fine liner pens, you can. It's not going to destroy your pen tips. So that's good. Because I learned the hard way when I used the oil pastels. And then I tried to draw over it with my fine liners. Now I have 3 of those 005 ones that don't work anymore because of it. Lesson learned. I used to do stuff like this a lot in the early beginnings of my painting channel, and I find myself going back to them whenever I feel a little stressed or I feel like I don't have any ideas on what to do and I just want to do something. Don't ever underestimate the power of creating something when you're feeling stressed out or anxious. And it doesn't have to be something like this. It can be anything. It can be just drawing lines, just making circles, just putting different colors on a paper, using markers, listening to the sound of colored pencils. You know what I mean? And part of me is really sad that I didn't realize this earlier in my life. But I make it a point to tell my kids about it. It's nice to take your mind away from whatever is going on in your brain or in your life at the moment. And maybe I did this subconsciously when I was younger. I don't remember. Maybe I just had a different outlet. But when you're a teenager and you have so many things going on in your mind and you feel like you're not enough, instead of worrying all the time or feeling like the world is going to end, if you're just trying to take your mind off of it by doing something like this, it just calms you down. It really does. Now that I think about it, I used to love coloring. When there was an assignment at school that had a picture along with whatever I needed to do, I always did the coloring first. And I really enjoyed that. And I took great pleasure in, staying in the lines and shading it, which also got me into trouble because I spent so much time coloring everything in that I didn't have time, or, felt exhausted after trying to finish my actual assignment. But the coloring slapped, so that was most important to me. So priorities, right? A lot of my subscribers are my age, or maybe even more experienced in life. And if you have something to add, some wisdom to share in terms of how to approach life, I would love to hear. And maybe somebody will stumble across this video just when they need it, and will come to the comment section and read whatever wisdom you have left behind. And it might make their day. We never know. That's why I always say, be kind in the comments that you leave behind. You might catch somebody at a really bad time in their life, and they will come across a comment and think to themselves, wow, I really needed to hear that today. And I'll take whatever this person said to heart. The power of the word has such an impact on people. Like your mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's true though. And for the most part, I have to say, your comments are uplifting and really lovely and kind. So keep it up. Let's bring out the Posca pens. I'm in need for some dots. For some final touches. And for that I use acrylic paint. And these are dotting tools that can be used for clay or nail art. They have all different kinds of tip sizes. And then I usually use the golden acrylic paint because it's a little bit more heavy bodied, and that's just a regular. I know they have heavy bodied acrylic paint too, but that's just a regular one. Also, you can see it has a different texture, and if that's what you're after, then try it out. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but everything I use in my videos is always linked in the description box that you can find below the video. I have links to it, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy it through the link. You can go look at it and you can buy it without using the link. But if you do use my link, I do get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon, and basically everything I make from those purchases through the links, it's being put straight back into buying art supplies that I need to make these videos. So if you use the link, it is always greatly appreciated, and that is one way you can help out, support the channel or what I'm doing, and it doesn't cost you any extra. If you were already in the market for buying something like this, then it doesn't cost you anything else. Anything on top of what you're spending is what I'm trying to say. So thank you in advance to those of you who have been using the links or are planning on using the links that I'm providing. Now, if you're asking yourself, why is she using the pen for dots and then she goes in and uses the dotting tool and the paint for dots? Why isn't she not just using the pen for everything, or the paint and the dotting tool for everything? And the answer to that is because it gives it, one, more texture, and two, I like the variation I get from using the dotting tool. It just gives different sized dots, and it's easier to do that with the dotting tool, believe it or not, than to have to, go in with the pen and make them smaller or bigger. That's why. All right, let's have a look. I love how this turned out. It is so colorful and cheery. It's just what I needed. So if you find yourself a little bit stressed or unmotivated, then try something like this. So easy to do, and it just takes your mind off of things for a little while, and you end up with something that makes you happy. Well, that is it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. If you did and you liked it, please give me a like. You can clip it, you can share it, you can save it for yourself. And everything that you do helps my channel grow just a little bit more every day. And that is always greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful weekend wherever you are in the world. And remember, stay creative, my friends. I will see you next week.